Glagowski at this year's Direct Marketing Association annual conference in San Francisco. The big buzz in the show this year has really seemed to be about data. You know, a lot of marketing companies that had never uttered the word analytics seem to be having new tools and new techniques and are also talking about the challenges associated with data. So I went around and I spoke to some experts and practitioners about how they're infusing data and analytics into their marketing strategy.
Tim Souther, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Vaxium.
And John Meyer, CEO and President of Vaxium.
I think marketers face a challenge of determining what insights about consumers are most predictive about customer behavior. There's a school of thought that suggests that what matters is what customers actually buy. A noble thought. How frequently they buy, the value of what they buy, how long ago they buy. But there's another school of thought too that's emerged. There's a school of thought that no, it's what customers key into their search bar or the digital footprints that they leave, that's what really matters. And yet there's another school also, and that's about the attitudes and personalities. So the question is, well, who's right? And the short answer is that, well, they're all partially right, but really what they are is incomplete. You see that customer who has perfect visibility to their end customers' buying habits, congratulations. You have insight into the 1 or 2% of time they spend with you. And that search behavior online, if you think that searching for plasma television is the most predictive, you'd be wrong. It's only 24th. And attitudes, well, most of Americans think that they are above average looking and above average intelligent, which is a mathematical impossibility. So the great breakthrough is the aggregation of those insights, the ability to connect what happens online with what they buy from you, with their attitudes, and that is a key breakthrough for marketers looking to stretch their return on investment.
And John, what are you seeing?
I'd probably take it back, as you'd expect, maybe at more of a macro level, that what we're seeing, what we believe we're seeing, is that the merging of what used to be branded advertising and direct marketing into, say, one type of advertising capability. We think that's being driven by a couple of things. One is guys like me are demanding that their CMOs come up a return on investment for the money they spend. And they're finding that the whole branded $100 million TV ad is becoming a waste of money because they can't prove it. And especially in a recession where people say, you got to prove it or you're not getting the money, they've turned to direct marketing as a way to make that happen. I think the other macro trend that we're seeing is that channels are becoming addressable, all channels. And so the ability to recognize a consumer across the multiple channels, capture what they're doing across those channels, how they're doing it, and then the combination of who they are with what they do is the holy grail of marketing. And so those two big trends coming together is going to mean that direct marketing is going to capture a larger share of the marketing and advertising dollars, because people are going to demand that there is a measurable value for what they do in the advertising or marketing space, and that'll come our way. Probably to take it from the macro down to the blocking and tackling, what do you have to do to make sure that the data that you receive has validity? I mean, the first part in that is be able to recognize a consumer regardless of what channel they're operating in. And it's not just knowing that it's Elizabeth. It is as important to know that it's Elizabeth and she's in her work environment, her email work, and that what she does in her email work is much different than what she does after hours in that. And so that recognition becomes a source, a raw material for the data. But once you get the raw material, as we know, we're all overloaded with data. And so it's once you can take that data, turn it into information, which you do through analytics and in many cases automated tools, but it's about decisions. And how you go from data to information to decision is when the world gets pretty complex.
I'm John Lewis, Director of Database Marketing at Joseph A. Bank Clothiers.
John, why are data and analytics important to your overall marketing strategy?
Well, while Joseph A. Bank is a brick and mortar retailer, a lot of our marketing is direct marketing driven. We've been a cataloger for over 30 years, as well as the main driver of how we get our customers into the stores is direct mail. And the analytics is key in trying to make the direct mail as efficient as possible. So we're also coordinating across multi-channel, so we need to understand who the customer is to really communicate to that customer.
Great. So what new opportunities within database and data analytics are you embracing?
Well, we're definitely moving into an age where we need to understand the customer, bring the data to the customer, and mail according to what the data is. So we're moving to a statistical modeling and customer segmentation strategy that is driven more by the customer's behavior and what product they're buying.
Excellent. So what are some of the challenges you're seeing in getting there?
Data paralysis is one of the biggest things. When you bring so much data together, it's really hard to prioritize where you start and what you're doing with that data. You still only have limited resources to start looking at that data. So it's really trying to understand what are the goals that we need to get out of the new data that we're seeing and the analytics. So it's a prioritization of the analytics.
I'm John Bastone, Product Marketing Manager for SaaS Customer Intelligence. I think one of the themes that's cropped up here at DMA, and it's cropped up at a number of other conferences that I've been a part of, is the challenge of social media channel is white hot. How in the world do we integrate that into our strategy, into our tactics as yet another viable channel to promote within, and also as a channel that we can consume information within. So I think just that challenge and a broader level is key. This all also ties into overall this recurring theme that's been around as long as I've been in marketing of how do you tie it all together? How do you tie in the different customer touch points, the customers shop within, the different touch points that they consume promotional offers within, and start to get that, it's a tired term, but it works, the 360-degree view of the customer to really understand which channels you need to engage with them for which offers at which point in time. So bringing it together, the role of social, these two themes continue to be pretty important.
Without acknowledging a man who...
Hi, Joe Paulson. I'm a Senior Vice President of Marketing Analytics for Experian North America. Well, first, most marketers can continue to improve on the refinements of segmentation, relevant targeted marketing based on the multi-channel transaction data and their customers' actual behaviors in response to their marketing activities. But the big challenge on the horizon for marketers is that two-sided coin. The marketing mixed media modeling, where you want to take all of the media spends to predict what will drive revenue by channel, and then the flip side of that coin, which is attribution, all of the dollars of revenue and which pieces of the marketing introduce the customer, which pieces influence the customer, and which pieces are affecting the close of the customer. And that's a hot challenge for marketers to address over the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think they can balance the art and science of marketing? How do you see them trying to do that?
Yeah, art and science is really key because big ideas still win. Right, but the science is getting there, and the data sources are now available for them to integrate most of this multi-channel marketing effort. So the science is becoming a little bit more dominant, and you can't use the science as a crutch for big ideas either.
Hey, I'm Michael Fisher. I'm with Alterian, Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing for North and South America. The challenges that marketers have today are pretty enormous when it comes to data. Everybody knows they need to use it. They know they need to analyze it. They know they need to leverage it to drive insight. There's just so much of it, and it's not going to shrink. It's not going down. The growth rates are enormous. Social media brings all kinds of new data sources and all kinds of new opportunities to build out and round out your data strategy. But it's daunting, it's large, and it's confusing. And so marketers have the challenge of where do I start? And the real answer is it's not a question of should I or shouldn't I must. And I might as well just jump in and get started somewhere, which leads me to the opportunity. Because the opportunities, because there's so many new collection vehicles for data, Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Flickr and every place else that a social consumer provides unsolicited feedback, presents a new data collection opportunity, a new insight opportunity. And that opportunity is the place for marketers to jump in and start looking fairly quickly at what they could do to understand how a consumer feels about a brand, the products, the campaigns that are being run, the channels that they're being run in. Consumers, without being asked, are willing to provide feedback. And that opportunity is one that marketers have to seize today.
So how do they combine the art and science of that in marketing?
So you start by grabbing data anywhere you can get it. If you start taking that data from anywhere that you can get it, and that art, right? Get it from wherever you can. Encourage people to give it when they're there, when they're visiting you. You should be anywhere your consumer wants you to be. Use that as a collection opportunity. That's an art. The science then becomes, how do I take that data and make sense of it? How do I use it to drive and influence and deliver insight for me as a brand that I can use to engage, that I can use to communicate, that I can use to stimulate and promote and support and help and listen and make relevant my message across any channel at any time.